For our lab 5 example 2, we're gonna use a remote. We're gonna press buttons like 0, 1, 2, 3, all of them, and those are gonna be written in our LCD screen. So this is a library that I made for you. I'm gonna try to explain you the basic instructions that I have there. So the first thing that we should do is wire this and make sure that it works, and I made a test function for that. So here's my connections, which are following this schematic right here. The first thing that we need to do is to include then the library for the SSD 7-segment display. So it's gonna be include 7-segment display for displays .h, and what I'm gonna do here is first, we need to initialize it. So to initialize it, we're gonna type SSD4D, which is the name to initialize it, and I'm gonna call it SSD. So you have to select the pins that you're using. First is the ones that we have in this order, so it's 13, 12, 10, 8, 9, and 8. So it's those pins: 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, and 8. And then the other ones, I was planning, originally I developed the library so that we can go this way. But for any reason in my case, I need to type 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So you may need to write 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. But in my case, I need to type 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if this configuration is right, now we can call the test function. It's ssd.test, and that will show you a series of numbers going from 0 to 9 on every one of these segments in the display. So let's test it. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's okay. You should get something like this. If you're getting this, that means that your library is actually function. It's also working. It's actually working. But as you can see, I'm missing one part here. I think it's just one of my wires. That it's not working. There you go. Yeah, it was a wire. It looks like I have a faulty wire there. And I'm missing, it's just that my wires are kind of old, so sometimes they don't want to work. There you go. Okay, good. So that tells me that everything is working. So we can move on now to the actual code. So let's first include our remote, right? Same thing that we did in the first example. So let's first include the library for the IR remote. So it's include IR remote.h, and then we need to make the initialization for the IR. So it's IR receive, then I receive pin 14, which is A0, is this one right here. So A0 is 14. And we need the structure. So decode results and code. Now, let's initialize the receiver. I receive the IR remote, enable IRIN, and serial. Let's use our serial console just to see the data that we're getting already decoded. So begin 900, 6000. The first thing that we're gonna do then is try to see what it's the data that we're receiving from our final from our receiver. So if I receive decode, remember this is when we check if we press something, and that whatever we receive, it's going to be sent to our data structure code, just this one right here. So whenever I get something, remember that we need to resume by the end. So I'm just going to type it here. If not, it'll get stuck in the loop. So let's first get the data. So that print ln whatever we're receiving, right? So that's code that value. Let's first see what we're receiving when we're pressing a 1 and a 2. So let's go to my monitor. Okay, so I'm gonna send the 1. Okay, oh, it's in decimal format. I need to type it in hexadecimal. That's gonna be easier for us. So okay, I'm gonna press 1, FF3C, FF30C, and 2, FF18E7. So how can we make it know what's the code? Well, let's first copy this and make a function here below. So it's gonna be if, let's just call it decode, void decode IR, because we're decoding the infrared, and we're gonna receive an integer of 32 bits. Let's just call it code. So whatever I'm receiving, it's gonna be called code. So f, and we're returning a short, which is just an 8 bits. So short f code is equal to, and that was the code for 1, right? So that needs to be in hex. So when code it's equal to this, let's make a variable called decoded, short decoded equal to -1 first. That's just to give it any number that it's not reasonable. So when code is equal to this, which is what I get when I press a 1, look, I'm pressing a 1, I'm getting FF30CF. So when I get that, I'm gonna return my decoded, it's gonna be equal to 1. And by the end of my function, I'm gonna return a 1. Sorry, decoded, which is a 1. So when I do this, if I press a 1, my decoded, it's gonna be a 1. So let's now here print the coded and the decoded value. So serial print our coded value, and then we're gonna print our decoded, and we need to call our function, which is a code AR. So let's make a variable called final code, or decoded code, whatever you want to call it. Final code equal to decode IR, which is this function that I have here. And I'm gonna send my code value. So I'm gonna send the hex value. If that hex value is FF30CF, it's gonna be equal to 1. So I'm returning a 1. I'm decoding the hex code. And if I receive anything else, I'm just returning a -1 so far. Now let's print it. final code. Good. So let's give it a try. I forgot a semicolon here. We're returning decoded, and it says what? Return not equal, just return decoded. Okay, good. All right, so let's see if it's decoding it. I'm gonna send a 0. Since the 0 is not this code, it's gonna be -1, or I think it's gonna be 255. Let's see. It's just -1. See? If I type 2, same thing, it's just -1. But when I type 1, when I press 1, the code is 1. So that means that it's working. Now let's add another code. Let's see what's the code for number 2. FF18E7. So we're gonna make an else if my code is equal to 0x that value, which is for number 2, decoded now, it's gonna be equal to 2. Let's test it now. It should decode 1 and 2. Let's see. One and 2. 1. Oh, I press 0. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. So remember, those FFs is because I'm pressing it for a long time, but if I just press it quick, it will just send the number by itself without the FFFF. So now we need to show it. We need to decode first all the other ones. So let's just press the other ones, my 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so this is 3. It's gonna be the same thing. Just gonna copy this first. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. Let's align all this. Okay, and now let's try the code for 3. So code for 3 is FA05. So I'm just gonna copy that and paste it here. Then for five, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. I don't have 0, so let me type 0. So let's press 0. Okay, that's the code for 0. And now let's show it also in our SSD. So the SSD is just type show. I'm gonna show it here. So it's ssd.show, and let's show final code choose a number, and then this number 2, it's the number for the LCD. I think this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let me see. Forgot my semicolon. So let's type 3. Yeah. So I'm pressing 3, and I'm showing that 3 in my second digit. If I change this one to a 4, now we'll show the number that I'm pressing in the 4th digit. So let's type 0. I'm gonna press 0. There you go. 0, 1, 4, 5, 3. Okay, if you press it longer, it's just gonna shut down because you're sending a -1. But anything else is working. Just make sure that you don't press it for too long. And I think that's it. This is your Lab 5 example 2.